Well, it's really nice because here at the Holburne we have such a strong collection of portraits. So we wanted to have a show that is figurative works by the Impressionists. So this isn't an overarching Impressionism show, this is looking at figurative pieces, so people in paintings by the great French Impressionists.
How difficult an exhibition was this to pull together?
Well, it's an ambitious show, Richard. You've probably seen that the loans we've got here are from the National Gallery, from Tate, from the National Gallery of Scotland. We've been asking for some of the absolute gems from those collections. So it was nail-biting, because every time we had a loan request out there, I was just hoping against hope that Tate, National Gallery, the Ashmolean, the Barber, that they would say yes. And luckily enough, we've been so supported by these major national institutions and by some private owners as well, who've been really generous in their loans to this show. So it was nail-biting because of the ambition of it, but actually when you really look at figurative works, there are some specific pieces that I wanted to include, and bit by bit I could see it coming together, and I think it looks really jewel-like. I'm really pleased with it.
It's very unfair of me to ask you, but do you have favourites?
It changes all the time at the moment. You feel like you live with an exhibition so much when you're researching it, and then the joy when the paintings actually arrive and you look at them, you sort of find yourself falling in love with different ones in different ways. But there is a beautiful little Pizarro painting of his daughter. We've got a room within a room in this exhibition, a small intimate space, and that painting is heart-wrenching because it was painted the year before his daughter died, and there's a vulnerability in the way he paints her, and I just find it a really moving painting. So I think at the moment today, that's my favourite.
We're standing in front of a Renoir, and an image taken from this is on your banner, facing down Great Pulteney Street.
Yeah, this is a really seductive painting, so we're hoping it will allure people, it will seduce people to come to the Holburne and see this exhibition. This is our lead image. We chose this as the lead image because Renoir is so important in Impressionism. He's such a big figure, quite a difficult personality at times, but he really knew how to paint. And this is a lovely frothy painting, and actually we've taken all the colours in this show from this painting. So you'll see the different sections of the exhibition have different coloured walls, and all of those colours derive from this painting. So she's really central, and she knows it, you can tell. She's completely in control. She's seducing us with this coquettish smile. It's a really wonderful painting.
The Impressionists, of course, held their first counter-exhibition in 1874. That's a date that has a real connection with this museum, doesn't it?
That's right. So 1874 was the year of the death of Sir William Holburne. So it's a neat way of us saying that's a really important moment for us, because that was the year when then Mary Ann Barbara, who was the sister of William Holburne, decided and started the process of leaving her brother's collection to the city of Bath. So how important for us, 1874, the year of the first Impressionist exhibition in Paris, when this group of artists decided to go against the trend and to set up a rival exhibition 2 weeks before the establishment show, the Salon, in Paris. So it's exciting times in France and a really important moment for us at the Holburne because it's where all of this began.
The Impressionists, of course, arrived at a time when photography was taking on painting, and perhaps in a way what they did was showing that a painter could do something a photographer could not.
Something along those lines. I think that's a really meaningful thing that you learn from this exhibition. There's a quote I've included on the first wall, which is that these artists were revolutionaries because they painted not what they saw, but what they felt. And that's really interesting to think about, that it's actually capturing the essence, the feeling of being outside, the smell of the air, that fleeting moment when you see somebody's face from different angles, and to be able to explore that and the way that that makes you feel is a really important innovation that the Impressionists brought. And once that was in place, then that was infectious. So the final section of the exhibition looks at Impressionism in Britain and the way that these innovations of the Impressionists had such an impact here in Britain. And so we've got some works that actually explore that and show how once the Impressionists had made these changes to an approach to art, it couldn't be undone. Even if people didn't like it, they were completely besotted with the idea that there was a fresh way of painting. It's really exciting.
Jennifer, turning our attention outside the Holburne now, if we may, anybody visiting will see, it's very obvious that you've got work going on behind the Holburne,
Yes.
quite major work. Now, you've got a new car park, and I understand it's draining nicely, so it looks as though you've solved one problem. What's happening at the rear of the museum?
Well, actually, you call it major work, but in fact, it's just a sort of phase 2. After our extension in 2011, there are certain things that just needed to be tweaked. So, in fact, it looks quite major with all the JCBs, and I'm very sorry if people are finding a bit of disruption at the moment, but bear with us on it, because actually we're just tidying up that space. So the car park now is clear of mud, which has been a pain for us for the past couple of years, and so now it's a lovely new surface there in the car park. And in the back, we're going to have a terrace where the AstroTurf used to be for the cafe, so it's going to look really attractive, and then new steps going up into Sydney Gardens. So it's not too long to go now. By the end of March, we should have it all up and running, just in time for spring, and hopefully people who are coming to see this exhibition will enjoy having picnics outside or al fresco dining from our lovely cafe.